business while wearing his MAGA hat in a local bar, but things would quickly take a turn when a cowardly liberal decided to hit the Trump supporter over the head, leaving the man bleeding. Although the attacker thought he would get away with it, he received a nasty surprise just a few moments later. The incident took place in Brooklyn, where NY native Jovi Val was out enjoying his night like so many others. As it turns out, he had traveled to the city for Milo Yiannopoulos' dangerous book party before heading to a bar afterward. Once there, Jovi states that he was having a good time on the dance floor for a few hours until his MAGA hat fell off. Come to find out, not everyone in the establishment was a fan of the hat, as a woman, later identified as Emma Rodriguez, started to stomp on the man's property. As if that wasn't bad enough, the entitled brat then told Jovi that she hated his hat and hated him personally as well. However, things would get much worse when the Trump supporter did what anyone wouldn't, try to get his hat back. According to the Gateway pundit, Jovi pushed her away to retrieve his hat when he got into a fight with Rodriguez's boyfriend, Leonardo Heinert. Making matters worse, Val was then struck in the face with a beer bottle by Heinert, leaving him bloodied and badly injured. As a result, he was taken to a hospital where he was treated for a broken nose and a massive gash that required 15 stitches to close up. Unfortunately for the cowardly liberal who thought that he would get away with such a brutal attack, things took a turn as he got a nasty surprise just a few moments later. As Laura Loomer, a journalist for the Rebel Media, explained on Twitter, Leonard Heinert found out the hard way that actions have consequences. In fact, the cowardly punk was arrested before the night was over, despite expressing the typical liberal belief that members of the left can do whatever they please without repercussion. Even better yet, it looks like the moron may be about to lose his job as well. As many so-called progressives are learning the hard way these days, there is still law and order in this country. Beyond that, there is also the goodwill of everyday Americans, as was demonstrated by the fact that someone opened a GoFundMe in the name of Jovi. Unfortunately, the liberal administrators of the website have since sadly closed down the account for unknown reasons, but that isn't stopping anyone. Rather than deal with GoFundMe and pay them a portion of the donations, Jovi has since released his PayPal information, allowing people to make a direct donation right into his account. The left better take a good hard look in the mirror before things get worse than they already are. After all, cases like these make me such a strong proponent of the Second Amendment and, more specifically, carrying a concealed firearm. At the end of the day, it's always better that a two-bit thug who thinks they have the right to put hands on you be the one laying on the floor bleeding rather the other way around. Heinert is actually lucky that things didn't end up worse than they actually did, and they most certainly could have. Please share the story and tell us what you think by clicking one of the buttons below.